Hello, my beloved waking gods and goddesses. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Love, Truth, and Beauty. Do it yourself for Divine in the Flesh. Now with replays on IGTV at dakini.kiss, where together we learn how to surf and navigate the ups and downs of the totality of human experience, composing a new earth beyond the limitations of this perception, managed reality matrix of 5 senses, having discovered our true divine creative natures and our true sensual sensorial world of 7 senses, creating formless into form. Before we get started, please do give this video a thumbs up. Please also hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, selecting the all setting so that when I upload videos, YouTube will let you know. I generally upload Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern. My name is Mario S., and I am your hostess of the highest, here to download, upload, inspire, and usher you into your bestest and brightest light, your bestest and brightest selves, and inviting you all to open your hearts wider and wider and wider still. And oh my God, I almost panicked because I couldn't find my glasses, but here we are. Hello, my little darlings. How are you all doing? Crazy election cycle we're in, yes, and I am not paying attention to it. I'm having fun, though, and I'm extending more thank yous and smooches for all the kind and lovely birthday wishes for my 61st, which I just celebrated with Rakani, the bestest birthday ever. I am a happy and blessed woman. Welcome to episode 85, my loves, part 4 of our continuing conversation on conscious sexuality, having exited the matrix, that is, no longer following and adhering to any automated scripts and behaviors of sexual enslavement, abuse, or the relationship dysfunction and codependencies of the hell of the war of the sexes, of the masculine and feminine, or men and women, or any other divide and conquer programs as promulgated by the powers that want to be within the matrix. And I've been taking notes from your input and requests via email and all of the direct messages. And today's video, I'm starting a share of my process regarding conscious celibacy and unwinding and unpacking the sex abuse from my childhood and its ongoing threads into my adult life, affecting all my relationships and, of course, pointing me toward my offerings, hand-holding actual survivors of sex trafficking and SRA, satanic ritual abuse. And rather than me overthinking it, I will just speak from my heart. Now, my sex abuse history is not just tribal and incestual, but it is generational from all directions of my ancestry. And without getting into too much extraneous information, rest assured, I was primed from the very moment of my conception to adhere to various narratives of sexual enslavement typical in Eurasian heritage. The roles of women typically relegated to on-demand sexual servicing and favors for any and all males, known and unknown, whether blood-related or not, sexual objectification, seal the deal, political, social, matchmaking marriages to ensure peace and plenty amidst tribal conflicts, and of course, not to forget the necessity of fulfilling the roles of non-stop till your death baby-making machines, okay? My earliest memories of sexual abuse are of male cousins, neighbors, what have you, coming to my crib and masturbating, ejaculating onto my face. From the time I began walking, my mother would bark out the hostile order of washing my yoni with soap and water every morning, keeping my petals fresh and clean. For what? Oh, the visitors into my room late at night under cover of darkness, perhaps? Or of being groped and squeezed and kissed and bitten and slapped and choked and sullied and fingered by boys and men whose breath stunk of beer and decay and whatever the fuck was for dinner? I learned to leave my body and float up to the ceiling, and later I learned to teleport myself to the top of the bubble at my favorite schoolyard until it was all over with. How long did this shit actually go on for? 4 years. And to no avail. No help from my mother, no help from any female cousins, aunts, neighbors, friends. I was blamed for being too pretty. And because of that, I deserved what I got. I was asking for it because boys and men can't help themselves around pretty girls. Oh my God. My first lesbian experience was with a friend who was a year older than me. She was Filipina, and our mothers were friends. I was 9, and she had me pretend I was the wife. We played newlyweds, and I made the connection that the nightly intruders I had suffered for years were also having me pretend I was their wife. And of course, that may or may not be true, but that was the connection that I made. My best friend at the time, Becky, would give me advice on how to give a blowjob to get a boy to come really, really fast rather than have your face fucked bloody, okay? And she also had tips on how to be repulsive to the boys and men who were just gross. But to me, you know what? They were all pretty disgusting. So, needless to say, I was confused to say the least, and I didn't have much of a voice to say no because of my programming. This is just how it was, how it always was, how it's always been, and probably would always be. But then I started acting out in very disturbing ways. So my ways to cope, I started doing drugs really young, smoking pot. I was writing horror stories, dismemberment stories. I was writing songs about disturbing topics like that, setting things on fire, sneaking out at night and walking for hours alone in the dark. I was into overachieving, pretending I was someone else, the smart girl, the smart, geeky, pretty girl who could do math and science and play music and dance and sing and do backflips and shit like that. Funnily enough, I wasn't really pretending because I was already all those things, but I became acutely aware of a pattern that began to repeat itself with boys and men. They would tell me I was beautiful, tell me they loved me, but those were only words because then they would lie, cheat, use me for sex, then expect me to stay and be their number one and their mother while they got to fuck around, bring other girls and women into the bedroom, or had other relationships in addition to the one they were having with me. Maybe it was kind of the sign of the times. I mean, this was the 70s and the 80s, and there was free love and sex, drugs, and rock and roll after all. But I began to notice some bizarre, energetic, emotional repercussions from the threesomes and the foursomes I had participated in, quite unwillingly, I might add. Namely, I began to notice a very strange resonance with the other women's emotional, mental, psychic, energetic content, which were nothing like my own, along with an overly angry and masculinized aggression. So I became very acutely aware of taking all of these on and acting in accordance with all of this absorption and the bleed through that I was receiving. I mean, what the fuck? I wanted to be unique. I wanted to be chosen. I wanted to be the beloved and be revered and cherished and be in love. I was the sort of naive romantic, okay? But the ongoing betrayals by my supposed significant others were more than I could bear. Something happened. After a night of having sex with my then husband, who had confessed that he had spent the afternoon fucking 2 other women, I began hallucinating a very painful scenario of what had transpired that afternoon. I mean, it freaked me out, and I flipped my wig, and I called him out. Shortly after that, I confronted both of these women, soliciting their sisterhood in setting the story straight, and both corroborated my intuitions. Boom. Mind-blowing, okay? Because this blistering discovery was a poignant moment of realization that the emotional energetic bleed through and exchange and absorption I was undertaking during sexual activity is absolutely very real and substantive. Okay, this has nothing whatsoever with me being a prude or judgmental or being a bitch. Okay, I was devastated and intrigued at the same time. Okay, so the scholar in me was like, okay, listen up, something's going on here, pay attention. This event, along with the several abortions and losing twins prematurely, there was no going back for me. I made the decision to get my ass straight, my sexual self straightened out by committing to practice celibacy consciously. Now, I had no background about this. I'd never heard of it, but I was just done. I was done being touched and groped and fucked over every which way. The thought of sex repulsed me. I wanted to clean myself of everyone's energies, everyone I had slept with, along with everyone else they had slept with, and so on. I mean, the mathematical enormity and disgust, it made my head spin and it made my stomach just heave. I remember sitting in a hot bath of pine sol, trying to cleanse myself of the rank and file collective dump of all the energies of other people, their pain and suffering, their filth, their unconsciousness, their fucked up thoughts, their fucked up, all of which I could feel inside my body, in my cells, in my yonis, my yoni, my organs, my tissues, my psyche. I was in deep pain, my loves, heart, mind, body, soul. I stopped believing in men and in women. I stopped believing all their words, and I began to tune into my own heart, mind, body, soul. I withdrew. Now, this first period of my celibate life lasted 7 years. During this time, I divorced my then husband. I grew my healing practice internationally. My creativity soared, and I recorded 2 music albums and toured worldwide. I also created a trauma deactivation practitioner curriculum and purified my heart, mind, body, soul from all the past sexual transgressions and projections into me, outside from me, etc. I cannot express enough the power and healing this process of conscious celibacy wielded me. I had to burn through the addiction of seeking validation through the eyes and words and attention of others. I also had to face my loneliness from not being touched, and I had to learn the difference between genuine loving touch and the disconnected, cold, rough, perfunctory touch of sexual predators. I burned in the fires of love, truth, and beauty during this hermitage. I healed my addiction to the biochemical cocktails of all the sex and love hormones, which includes testosterone, estrogen, dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, oxytocin, just to name a few. And interestingly enough, I entered into early menopause during this time in my early 30s. Now, clearly, these sex love hormones did nothing but get me to remain sex enslaved and biochemically controlled within the matrix, allowing me to stay stuck, adhering to unhealthy and dangerous relationship scripts, typical and psychosexual dysfunctional codependent relationships, all meant to fail and doom its followers into a life of unhappiness. Now, in the next video, I will go deeper into this process and I will attempt to explain the various steps and stages of what all I had to face in my practice of conscious celibacy. Okay, my darlings, that is my speech. Do give this video a thumbs up. Comment about your experiences of celibacy, if you have any, in the comments box below or in private. Please share this video with your communities, friends, family members, and social media platforms, and with whom you feel would benefit from this content. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, selecting the all settings so that the YouTube will know when I upload next. And if you find value, enjoy, or benefit from my content and videos, won't you please consider supporting my work through a donation? My PayPal link is below, as is my contact information through Linktree that connects you with all my stuff and the different ways to connect and work with me. I thank you all so much for your participation and focused attention. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, be the love that you are. Share your love. Always act from love, from your center screen, out of the matrix. Be creative, be kind, be helpful, be generous, and give of the love that you are. Here's to love, truth, and beauty, my lovey doves. Mwah!